Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here, back with another video. Happy November, happy new month. Facebook, YouTube, that really weird thing with the clock again, which it sometimes does. Don't know why it does that, like resets and all that. But anyway, hopefully this will upload as well as possible. Dear touch wood or whatever. Not that I'm that superstitious, but touch wood, as they say, or whatever. God willing and Godspeed, most importantly. But anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place. I've been absolutely shattered today. I can call it Saturday instead of Saturday. Last month I didn't make my bed all month. Like I normally like to change my bed, but I try and be as honest as possible on my channel and my videos and my content and whatever. So yeah, I'm just not really doing too well. I'm just absolutely shattered. Like last night when I came back from a games group that I go to, I was really tired, and I didn't. I wanted to go sleep, but then I was a bit nervous because my light started flickering and I started getting worried about Halloween and that kind of thing. Even though nothing happened really that bad during the day. In fact, nothing really bad happened during the day yesterday. But anywho, I was thinking it'd be an irony if, like Halloween, which is said to be the Day of the Dead and that kind of thing, and according to Christians, a very negative day. If it was the day I got confident enough to talk about my goals coherently and like 1, 2, or 1 or share and stuff like that, with my mum and people from the church, and not that I'm a religious person, but that's where I go to the games group. But saying like, if you support my writings, I'll share Bibles or whatever in their case. I do the same for the Quran in Muslims. But I guess when you're playing games and all that kind of thing, I was playing Monopoly and all that kind of thing. It sort of distracts you, especially if you're me. But it's hard to do both at the same time. But anyway, for what it's worth, I did win Monopoly, but it's not the end of the world. But I do get a bit carried away when I play. My competitivity comes out. But anyway, I haven't had my Facebook back either, so that's really annoying because I was hoping a new month get my Facebook back. But hopefully it'll be their loss, and eventually they'll say, "Oh, let's put this guy back on because he uses the service quite a lot." And hopefully they'll give my content back. Otherwise, God willing and Godspeed, they'll pay the price for it just as much as me, if not even more. Perhaps that's possible. But so I know I say I have this thing where when I make or create something, I want to keep it, that kind of thing. So I struggle to get motivated without knowing the end goal or whatever. But anyway, today I had loads of things I wanted to do, loads of writing, and different things I wanted to do, like having a shave. My stepdad shaves me because I'm very clumsy. Cutting my nails. And in the past I used to clean my ears, but I don't really know how to do that because if you put cotton buds in, it can damage your ears and all that kind of thing. But I think you just put olive oil in or something that's supposed to clean them. But anywho, I was thinking, I hope it's not too narcissistic talking about myself and my own plans, although many of them are about helping others. But anyway, these are my things that I want to focus on for November. But I've had a really shattering day today. Went for a short walk, but I haven't managed to do much at all. I did watch a bit of football, but I'd say hardly anything, to be honest. I haven't done any writing or anything like that. But I'll put it down to being the first day of the month, and hopefully this is the worst day of the month and the rest of the days get better and better. Like that. Maybe if the 13th is a bad day, or I get 1 or 2 bad days, it's not such a problem. But I hope most of the days will be as good as possible. Obviously, who wouldn't want that? But before I move on to the list of pointers, number 1 to 10, as per usual. I might try and mix it up on that note, but I was thinking there's a few things I could cover today, but I thought I'd talk about my plans. Excuse me, my plans for the day, but I mean for the month. I beg your pardon, for the month ahead. But yeah, so what was I going to say? Lost my thought. I hope to focus on empowering 2 groups this month, just like I suppose October, funny enough. But I hope to support neurodivergent people, like neurodivergent people start their businesses and things like that, for instance, or whatever they think is more empowering, to build a neurodivergent network, and even a neurodivergent billionaires network and things like that, and to support the Black community, Black people around the world, partly to make up for lost time, because I part jokingly say I'm dyslexic, so I need extra time. That's supposed to be for exams, but for me it's for most things. It's a lame little joke, but it also becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And also to compensate them for like the N-word or the N-words or whatever that they've been called historically. But yeah, I'm not going to say those words, but I'm sure you know what they mean. Well, they are. But yeah, so to reparate the black community by supporting them financially or in all possible ways, God willing and Godspeed, as I say. So yeah, neurodivergent people and the black community to sort of compensate them for the N-word, and also to pick up the things I didn't manage to finish in October for various reasons. Having problems with my social media and things like that was part of it. It's Facebook and YouTube and things like that. And I suppose it could be Native Americans as well. I think officially it's Native American History Month, but I normally do that in July, August, and September. But I thought I could do that because, like, given my use of alliterations, like November, Native American, just like neurodiversity and that kind of thing. So, as per usual, I hope to help people in developing nations in parts of Africa and that kind of thing, especially to network together in tech. And hopefully I'll be able to finally put some ideas into practice, all being well. If not, I guess ASAP. I'll just keep trying to plow away. But here goes. So, number one, I would love to support, on that note, neurodivergent people to start up their own businesses and their own careers in singing, songwriting, singer-songwriting together. So either singing, songwriting, and of course singer-songwriting. So yeah, doing both. Or in different areas. I know because Saturday I'm thinking of things that begin with S, but generally things like music, more generally, sports, business, starting up their own businesses, and things like that. And if we're together as a group, hopefully we'll make it easier. We might even be able to bypass the startup, sole trader stage and just jump straight into networking. But due to my use of patterns and alliterations, I sort of say neurodivergent startups, for instance. Similar for the black community, again, to compensate them for the N-word, for people using the N-word by supporting them in my own quirky way, if that makes sense. Given that is in November as well, so I'm thinking of reparations for the N-word in November. But yeah, trying to be as careful as possible about what I say. But also, again, Native American startups, black-owned startups in Nigeria, South Africa, Central Africa, and other parts of Africa. I didn't get around to finishing off on Thursday parts 3 and 4 of what I was discussing about Central Africa, because partly I got a bit tired and got a bit lazy, I think. When I get home, sometimes I just seem to be really tired because I went to a Halloween filmmakers party, so people interested in filmmaking. So when I got back, I thought I was going to finish off part 3 at least, if not hopefully part 4. And then I got really lazy, and it was Halloween. So normally I like to have a shower every day, but yesterday I decided to skip it for once. But it doesn't happen too often, thankfully. But yeah, and I still haven't had my shower up till now, so it's quite late. But I know I be honest about my mental problems and things like that as much as I can. But moving on, point number 2. I hope to think about things I've learnt, making changes, a new month. I did want to strip and remake my bed to be ready for a fresh new month. Although with my hoarding, I don't really, my mum and my brother talk about cleaning my room. In fact, most of my family do. In fact, all of my family do. Now and then they tell me to clean my room, especially my mum and my brother who still live at home. But even my sisters tell me to clean my room, especially when they lived here at my house, or our house. But yeah, think about things I've learned as well. But as I say, also I think of like things that are less. So I talked about startups, but also supporting SMEs, neurodivergent, Native American, and Black SMEs. Again, I know it's a bit quirky, but in the case of the latter, partly to make up for lost time, as I say, because I wanted to do more in October, and also to, I said, like, it feels so strange. A lot of months they seem to drag on, but at the same time they go so quick. As I say, I don't know how that works, but October was one of those months which seemed to last ages, but then it seemed to be they had all these plans and not enough time at the same time, conversely. So I don't know how that works, but it seems to be some sort of mystical thing where the month drags on and at the same time goes so quick. Again, I don't know how that works. Seems a contradiction, but life is full of confusing contradictions. But anywho, another thing I give up on things quite easily. I'm going to make sure I don't do that. I think keep ploughing away and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that if neurodivergent people network together, hopefully we can achieve a lot together and make life easier for each other by working together and having each other's backs and support each other. That's the plan. Maybe a very naive plan, but a plan nevertheless. And same for the black community and the same for Native Americans, I guess. But moving on, number 3, I'd love to promote libertarian as much as possible. I think about sometimes I imagine saying like freedom is free, or even asking a question, is freedom a myth? Is there such a thing as freedom? But I do believe there is freedom. I just don't believe it's, as I'll describe it, linear. In other words, I don't think it's either you are free or not. I think there's varying degrees of it. And I would love for people, as well as animals and all living things, to be as free as possible. So I support libertarianism, and I'd love to fundraise for libertarian parties and things like that as part of my causes, as I call them, and my goals and my dreams generally, which would be part of my causes and all that kind of thing. So sort of connected. But I don't believe you can ever be 100% free. I'm sure, like even I believe in rules and laws, and like I'm a sucker for sticking to the law. A stiffler, if that's the right word. I know that sounds a bit crude, but a stiffler too, or a sucker for sticking to the rules or whatever. And not rules, but laws, like when it becomes legislature. So I never like to break any laws. I don't break plenty of rules, society's rules and all that kind of thing. I'm just saying there's quite a lot of fireworks out recently, and my cat seems to be very scared of them. He hides under the table and that kind of thing. So I don't notice, but then when he goes on the table, I kind of notice that he seems a bit nervous about fireworks and that kind of thing. Sorry, side note. But yeah, I love to support libertarianism, libertarian parties, and talk to people about what freedoms people think others should have. One of the things I was thinking about recently is either with this phone or whatever contraption or equipment I can use. That's a big word for me. Both of those are big words for me. But on a serious note, sorry, my language terms of humour. I would love to document, like, I don't know how much I should give away, but I suppose if I record them on my phone, I could always edit bits that need to be edited if necessary, although I don't like to do that. But I've just remembered something my brother said I could use as a background. I won this picture, but I might show it in part 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, or even all of those. But yeah, sorry, I'm jumping from point to point. That's another thing, stick to one point at a time. Damn it, lost my chain of thought on that note. But yeah, recording like a day in my life or whatever, and without wanting to be too narcissistic about it or whatever, but like how I like my quirky traits, like how I like to keep certain mugs which remind me of certain things, certain clothes and colours of certain clothes that remind me of certain things, and my notebooks and how they remind me of certain things, and my quirks about wanting to write on everything and all that kind of thing. It's hard to talk about those things, mental health and all that kind of thing, but I hope to do so as well as possible and as honestly and openly as possible. And again, I know it probably sounds narcissistic, or it feels a bit narcissistic as well, talking about myself and my own dreams and my own goals and being wrapped in my own little world, but it's a lot better there anyway. But at the same time, many of them, if not most, are actually about helping others. I'm sure you'll agree, hopefully, if you hear enough of my videos and my waffling. But talking about waffling, moving on, number 4, I suppose they say less is more and more is less, vice versa, or whatever. What was my point? Sorry. I hope to focus on 1 or 2 things. I wish to God I could avoid distraction as much as possible, which I hope to come to a bit later. I'm creative rooms, which I hope to come to, as I say. I hope to promote peace projects, the right to resist, which reminds me of like Courage to Resist. I hope to work with peace groups like Courage to Resist and others like pacifists and conscientious objectors groups. I love for mixed race people to be, and I talked about how I'd love to work, how I hope to focus on neurodivergent people and the black community and Native Americans, but mixed race people, I'd love for us to be the most peace-loving group in the world and only to use violence as a last resort, and always to obey the law. I'd love us not to join militaries, gangs, or terrorism, or anything that's forceful or violent, anything that breaks the law. But anything that's violent would only do a last resort. I suppose I've been guilty of calling them little laws. Like, I don't know about speeding or stuff like that in a car, but maybe people break 1 or 2 laws. But generally speaking, I think you should try to stick to the law as much as possible. I'm thinking of things like not stealing, trespassing, or or whatever, and that kind of thing. I suppose point number 3 I could say about lower taxes. But while privatisation, the deregulation of industries and lower taxes is part of libertarianism, but I love to fundraise for libertarian parties, freedom from force, and to have as few rules and laws as possible, and to talk to people, doing discrete interviews and one-to-one interviews and group Zoom chats and whatever, to say like, what freedoms do you think people should have, and that kind of thing. But moving on, number 5, I hope to work on my 5 causes and things like. I know I said I want to focus on neurodivergent and black business owners and supporting neurodivergent and black people to achieve their potentials and things like that, and empowering them in whatever way I can, whether that's financially or whatever, and even I suppose Native Americans as a third group as well, I guess. As I say, rather controversially, to support the black community, to compensate them for things they went through, like being called the N-word, or even slavery itself, and even slavery itself, rather, and also colonization and things like that. And I'd love to encourage black people around the world to network together and support each other and unite as much as possible. And allies like myself, maybe even POC generally. But yeah, I hope to work on my 5 causes, as I say, of benefiting town football, Celtic, libertarianism, people from former colonies, and the tackling of poverty and alleviating of suffering and spreading peace, love, and joy, and that kind of thing as much as possible, and all the positive stuff, as I say, as much as possible. Even though I'm a pessimist, I love to be an optimist and a positive person, although I get those mixed up. But if I could, I'd love to dedicate 20% of, or a fifth, in other words, of all my attention, time, money, effort, energy, and whatever, freedom, effort, energy, attention, time, money, or basically all I can and all I have, pretty much, to those 5 things as equally as possible. But because I don't want to be too planned and too structured and sort of too focused, I kind of struggle to sort of set a time. Otherwise, I'd probably have what I call a timeline, or even like I can't really draw properly, but if I get someone to draw a circle for me or whatever, or think of a clock face, I have to pronounce that properly, and split that equally between all those causes and all that kind of thing. But I love to avoid distractions as much as possible, and again, having a creative room, which I might repeat a few times. Number 6, I dream to benefit Italian teams like Roma, Napoli, Juventus, and all the Italian teams really, as much as possible. A new Juventus, and I think again going on alliterations like Napoli, November, and that kind of thing. But Roma, I love sport generally as well, and Serie A generally, Parma, and Italian teams generally as well, as I say, Serie A, Coppa Italia. Well, Italian football generally, Italian soccer, or whatever you call it. I say soccer because it's Saturday. And I love to travel to Italy at some point. I don't know if I get to do so this month, but I hope to do so ASAP, really, if I can plan it out. Seeing what neurodivergent people can do for things like Italian soccer. And I dream that Italian football club and again soccer, or whatever you want to call it, football, soccer, calcio, footy, or whatever you want to call it. I dream to benefit them as much as possible on and off the pitch, financially and whatnot, and see what neurodiverse people can do for them, like travel there and that kind of thing. And basically see what Italian soccer can do to improve that kind of thing. And I dream that would be as successful as possible at club and country level. I dream that Italy, by some miracle, the Italian national team can get to the World Cup and even go on and win it after failing to qualify twice and struggling to qualify and possibly having to go to, almost certainly, I think mathematically now we have to go to a playoff if we're going to get to the World Cup, let alone win it. But I'd love for that miracle to happen. And hopefully Gattuso, our manager, can use his experience. And as I say, I dream that if they can go all the way and make that miracle, and Italian club teams can do as well as possible in the future. God willing, the world will last long enough for Italian teams to become the number 1. That'd be pretty cool, to win more trophies than anyone else. Again, at club and country level. But moving on, number 7, Celtic. I hope to talk about Celtic tomorrow. Celtic have a huge game tomorrow against our biggest rivals, the Rankers, as I call them. I'm worried about their manager being really good, and I suppose I hope to talk about my fears and worries about Celtic, or for Celtic, and then my hopes, dreams, and streams. My hopes and dreams, or streams, or whatever, to benefit Celtic, and how I hope Celtic will hopefully benefit and be as good as possible in better English or whatever. But yeah, I hope Celtic can win tomorrow and win as many trophies as possible. Ideally, Rangers. I'd love if Rangers didn't win any games, but I suppose you do need a competition a little bit, I guess. But yeah, hopefully Celtic can catch up with Hearts and win the league, and even a double and even a treble. But tomorrow could be a really bad time. It could show that Rangers have gone ahead with Danny Roll, whatever his name is, as the manager, however you pronounce his name. Sorry for those who are not into soccer, but I hope I can convince people to get into soccer, or whatever you call it, and work with FIFA and UEFA and whatnot ASAP. Another thing is, like, I often say, like, many hands make light work, and I do repeat myself, sorry, my bad habits. But once again, I think if neurodivergent people work together, I think hopefully we can make it easier. One of my dreams in life, that's what I was trying to remember as well, was like something I was thinking of saying, is that I would love to find an easy way, or even easy ways, to make money. Actually, yesterday, when it was Halloween, I went to the shop to get some. I wanted to get a mask, but I sort of miscalculated. I had a bit of an embarrassing moment. It felt like God punishing me for celebrating Halloween or whatever. But so, because I was going to a games group, I wanted to scare the children for a bit of a joke. So I thought there'd be children there I could scare for a joke. But and then I'll just give them the mask, because it was actually supposed to be for kids, this mask. But I saw it and I miscalculated. I had £5.10 on me, £5.10, and I counted it, and then it was £6.10. So got my maths a bit wrong, so I had to put the mask back. But got some Fantas, because I think of like drinking Fantas and thinking about my fantasies and dreams and that kind of thing. Fantasies / dreams, I use those terms interchangeably. And some popcorn. When I eat popcorn, I don't really watch many films, but I think of film or movie ideas, or whatever you call it, whilst I eat them. And I was thinking like supporting black and stroke dyslexic film producers and directors, dyslexics in the film industry, black people in the film industry, and all that kind of stuff, those sorts of things. As it was a Friday as well. But yeah, I saw this notebook, and I would have loved to have bought it. I had £1.50 left or something like that, and it was £2.50. So I did want to buy it, but I just was a bit short on it. And a nice life story, but it said easy notes or something like that. And I thought I'd write in there about finding out if there are easy ways to make money. That sounds like heaven to me. But yeah, I'd just pass that information on to people in Africa and that kind of thing to sort of benefit them. But I'd love to find an easy way, or even in the plural, easy ways to make money. I mean, maybe there are no easy ways. I'd like to keep dreams alive. But I talked about robots before, like how I'd love for dyslexic and other neurodiverse people. In this case, in November, I think, like neurodiverse people making robots. And I'd love to make money for like making videos like this, and then a neurodiverse billionaire or neurodiverse billionaires out there saying, "Oh yeah, that's quite a good idea to have a neurodiverse billionaires network," and stuff like that. And just even just from making a very simple video, the idea of making money in an easy or simple way. Again, two other words I get mixed up: easy and simple. Someone says making money. I think he described it as it's simple but not easy, or something like that. And he said, "How do you lose weight? You go on a diet, or you eat less and you exercise more." Excuse me. Well, you probably just eat better and healthier. Not something I'm into, but I guess needs must, as a Scotch would say. In other words, sometimes you need to. Which again makes me think life can never be 100% free, because otherwise, if I could make a deal with my maker, only I could make a deal with God, and I'd be able to eat and drink unhealthy stuff and still be healthy. I wanted to do that in a song, but anyway, I'll practice my singing that one maybe. But I'd also love to do videos where I sing and stuff like that, and tell stories and that kind of thing. But yeah, if neurodiverse people make robots that make life easier, and if I could just make a video and then someone out there who's neurodiverse, who's like a billionaire, sees my video somehow, I don't know how, but or if it somehow went viral and people are like, "Oh, this man Mutt's got some interesting ideas," or whatever, and then they're like, "Yeah, that could make me more money," and they say, "Yeah, neurodiverse billionaires join together." But if I had a trademark protection for what I call Illionaires networks, maybe that's another thing I'd talk about in November, all being well. Yeah, maybe seeing how it goes. Sorry, I'm waffling away, but I'm going to move on that note to number 8, creative rooms. I'm glad I remembered that. I'd love to have my own creative rooms, to just go to a place where I have limited distractions. In fact, preferably no distractions. Maybe even not have any like TV there, or anything else other than a laptop and notes to write and that kind of thing, where I could just be creative and that kind of thing. Maybe even neurodiverse people have their own creative rooms, and struggle. Black people have their own creative rooms and that kind of thing. Maybe as part of a deal like 1-2-for-1 or share shares, I call it. Maybe even mosques, churches, or any other religious buildings, council buildings, political parties, or whatever, helping me to have those rooms, or giving me those rooms, or whatever, preferably in the plural, that room or those rooms, where I could write and that kind of thing. Near me, there's been a new place which has been set up, which is another mosque. We actually already had one mosque, and now we have two. But I was thinking, my brother joked with me and said, "Oh, if you want," gave me some money, spending money, and he said, "Oh, if you want to contribute to the mosque." But me personally, I would have used it for my creative room if I could. If I could have got enough money, I would have used it for my creative room, and to help the homeless or something like that, either as a homeless shelter, or a shelter, sorry, or for a creative room or whatever. But yeah, I love to have my own creative rooms, and for each receipt, envelope, notebook, or whatever they help me to write, I'd say positive things about Islam or the Quran or the Bible or Christianity or whatever, depending on who helps me, or whatever political party or whatever it might be, even though I'm a libertarian and I normally support libertarian parties, or whatever. But yeah, I'll probably talk more about that a bit later. Sorry, I do struggle to get to the point. It's another one of my weaknesses. I have to try and change. But moving on to number 9 on that note, I don't know what I have to tell you to show you what number 9 is, but as if you can't count, sorry. I don't mean to insult your intelligence, sorry. But not that I can insult anyone's intelligence, to be honest. But I'd love to be able to write as much as possible when and wherever I have permission, preferably ASAP, preferably in November and from November, without getting in other people's way, ideally. And it is difficult because it's a bit of a dilemma, like not chopping down too many trees. But I suppose notebooks that already do exist, and using them to write in my own unique style and whatever, and writing on envelopes and receipts and envelopes and that kind of thing. And number 10, also making videos, as many videos as possible through those creative rooms. So I suppose number 8, 9, and 10 were sort of connected through those creative rooms, especially to write and make videos, and hopefully get to a point much quicker in the future as well. That's another thing. But anyway, peace and love, and I'm out.